Welcome to the Secret Garden Podcast. I'm your host, Heather Hamilton. This show is about seeing the whole world as a magical place for secret rendezvous, where we dance, where we express our provocative ideas with courage, where we play and are enchanted with beauty, where the miracles grow and the world reawakens. This garden is watered by you, the listener. Please consider helping it grow by becoming a donor on patreon.com/Heather Hamilton. Now it's time to dance in the garden. Hey everybody, this is Heather Hamilton. I am just pushing record on this first episode of the Secret Garden podcast, and we'll see where it goes. I want to welcome you. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to just try to share a little bit of my vision for why I'm starting this and where I hope that it will go. I released a book in 2023 called Returning to Eden. Obviously, in the title, it's a nod to the Garden of Eden. This idea of the garden as a place that's ever present to us, that's inside of us, where we can see the whole world as a garden that invites us to play and dance and wonder and discover. And the further we venture into this garden inside of ourselves, the more our external world opens up into what feels like magic and mysterious place. And so I've been obsessed with this metaphor of the garden for years now. And my typical mode of communicating usually goes something along the lines of have an idea, get curious, think about it, marinate, mull over it forever and ever and ever and ever. And then when I come to some point of proper gestation, birth the idea and put it out there sort of as buttoned up and as perfectly as I can. And that certainly has its place for, projects like writing a book or whatnot. But I've recently come to the conclusion that I really enjoy having conversations, speaking out loud, putting ideas out there like a tennis match to hit back and forth and refine with other people, and even just refine as I speak the ideas out loud. All of this is fun for me, engaging in conversations like that on subjects that pique my interest. It's fun for me. And so I've come to the conviction as of late that I need to be doing this more often. And so, the birth of this idea for this podcast called The Secret Garden came to me. I will give you, I guess, a fun little story in that when I was brainstorming about this, I remembered that when I was a little girl, there was a movie. I believe it was released in 1993, and it was called The Secret Garden. And I was obsessed with this movie. If you grew up in the 90s, maybe you remember it. I think it was, I don't know how popular it was, but I watched it a lot. And I had forgotten about this movie until very recently. And it came back to me, and I remembered how obsessed I was with it. And I went back and watched the movie and really saw myself in the main character. Her name is Mary Lennox. And, she finds herself sort of alone in this huge mansion, sort of, surrounded by material possessions that people could only dream of, yet feeling so lonely and dead and, thirsty for adventure and for life and for magic. And she ends up discovering a secret garden outside the mansion. And this garden, at first, only she knows about it, and she's led there by a robin. And soon she starts bringing her friends and people start healing and coming to life. But in the garden, it's just where imagination runs wild and miracles happen, and things that weren't possible become possible, and the heavy negative feelings are sort of dissolved into love and joy and wonder and miracle. And it reminded me of, you know, experiences that I've had where it feels just like that, and this insistence and passion that I feel inside myself, insisting that this exists in the world, that this is actually the true nature of reality, is, similar to what's reflected in that movie, The Secret Garden, and what Mary Lennox experiences in that movie, and what other people experience via her leading them into this garden. And so that's really the essence of what I want this podcast to be, and just the perspective and energy that I want to bring to my own world, that I want to extract out of myself and to give to you. And so that's the heart behind this podcast. I was reminded of the verses in Matthew 6, where Jesus tells us, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." And then later on it says, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you," all these material possessions. And so what I loved about the Secret Garden movie is that we see all the material possessions and the people who are living within those walls, absent the awareness of the secret garden, which, is a metaphor for this kingdom of heaven, this kingdom of God, where the treasure is. They're surrounded by the material possessions, and it's just dead. The people are dead. All the rich material possessions feel vapid and worthless. But in this garden, surrounded by life, surrounded by nature, those that were once dead come alive, and suddenly with new eyes, looking through the kingdom of heaven, looking through the eyes of God, it's like the abundance all around them takes on a new creation, and all the material things are added back in, but with a new appreciation for them. So it's really, it's about where our hearts are, where our treasures are. And so I'm excited to just explore topics that I'm interested in, with that kind of energy, to have conversations with, people that I resonate with and that I find really interesting. And I'm excited to introduce to you. And so sometimes there'll be guests, sometimes it will be, my thoughts. Sometimes it might be a poem that I've written or that I've come across that I've resonated, that I want to share with you and give some kind of perspective. But I hope by listening, you will be inspired and filled with wonder, and have your heart touch a piece of the secret garden, and know that that place and that perspective lives inside of you, and you can live from the inside out. So that's all for now. That's the intro to this podcast. Please subscribe so that you will get notified when a new episode drops. I also wanted to let you know, aside from the podcast, I've started a Substack called Returning to Eden with Heather Hamilton, where I will write, share my ideas, in written form. So go subscribe there. Also, I will upload these episodes to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@Heather Hamilton author. You can go and subscribe, and you can watch these via video if you'd like. I also do one-to-one spiritual direction, which you can find more information about either on my Substack or on my website, which is returningtoeden.com. And finally, I have my book, Returning to Eden, which we're going to explore some of those ideas on this podcast too. But I also have a new book called Eat the Dirt, 52 Poems on God and Being Human. And that releases this fall, the fall of 2025. So go subscribe to all those channels and you'll get all the updates. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for dancing with me in this episode of The Secret Garden. Please consider watering the garden by becoming a donor on patreon.com/Heather Hamilton. You can also visit returningtoeden.com, where you'll find my writing on Substack, my books, information about spiritual direction sessions, and speaking. Until next time, remember that the whole world is a secret garden, and you are part of the magic.